Uh, the circus acts continue, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't know how much of this is actually true. There's few people that's coming out and saying this isn't true, but James Corden, the TV star in America, I believe, recommended Frank Lampard. We're going to talk about that. Of course, we will talk about growing concerns in regards to the financial situation of Chelsea Football Club is a big factor, and maybe this has something to do with Julian Nagelsmann as well. The hidden truth behind why maybe Julian Nagelsmann hasn't been appointed as yet.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. First up, check this out. TV star James Corden played a surprise role in shocking appointment of Frank Lampard at Chelsea. I mean, that in itself sounds so ridiculous, and I don't want to believe it, but with all the things that's been happening with our football club and the owners, the way they're running the managerial situation, I wouldn't put it past it. I really wouldn't put it past it. Corden gave his pal and Blues owners Todd Boehly his opinion. The US talk show host and American financier Boehly have become friends. West Ham fan Corden idea got the nod. West Ham fan Corden's idea got the nod. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, they've been pictured here together, potentially at Chelsea. This is mad. This is mad if that's the case. But a lot of people are saying now there's no way this can be true. But we'll come back to this. More importantly, I think what transpires from this story, because it's not just these two particular people that's talking about it. David Ornstein actually also talked about this in the latest video, which I'll share with you guys. But it's important to realize off the back of this, I mean, the mess that we're in, the clear mess that we're in from a managerial standpoint. And it's got a lot of financial implication, and this is the main focus. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea has big problems on the horizon. The financial accounts that have been filed with Companies House today showing huge losses, huge payoffs to former directors, and huge spending on transfers. They will have to get that FFP situation right in the summer. David Ornstein via NBC Sports Soccer. There's a really, really good video which I will share very, very soon. But this is where I want to have the conversation, right? We've been paying a lot of compensations. We've been bringing in managers, paying high amount of wages, and also paying large compensations to break their contracts from their former clubs. And then we're also paying compensations when we are getting rid of them. Thomas Tuchel, we got rid of him. There was sizable compensation there. Graham Potter, when we selected him from Brighton, we paid sizable compensation, world record fee apparently, compensation to Brighton to get his services at Chelsea Football Club. Then we sacked Graham Potter. We negotiated a compensation. And now I'm pretty certain bringing Frank Lampard, that ain't free. That's not free. And all the backroom staff that Frank Lampard's bringing through, in the likes of Ashley Cole and all the other members that are coming through, they were all still getting compensation from Everton. Even though they were sacked from Everton, they were still getting compensation from there. And there is a word that's flying around that Chelsea will have to pay some level of compensation to Everton to get rid of those contracts so that they can come and join Chelsea. I think they've already joined Chelsea, so I'm sure there would have been some level of compensation paid to Everton as well. Maybe not as sizable as the ones we've paid so far, but all of these adds to the financial issues that we've already seen this season, when the reports came out, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, stating that we've got a 250 plus million loss that's conjured up, that's accumulated over the last 3 seasons. And Financial Fair Play will look into this massively. Financial Fair Play will look into this, especially in the Premier League, where you can only have up to 105 million in losses over a 3-year period. So compound all of these issues with all of these compensations, and then check this out as well. On top of all of these things, Chelsea new owners paid 49.75 million to former directors Bruce Buck and Marina Granovskaya For services related to the sale, accounts out today. The figures are out. It just gets even worse. So you best believe, not only we're not performing in matches on field, it's shambolic where we are in the table and where the morale of the football club is. Financially, we're in a mess. We have to sort this out in the summer. This is why I've been saying the magnitude of this job. It was so important for me after Graham Potter to bring in the right manager in and assess the situation, as opposed to now Frank Lampard, who supposedly are going to be here for another 8 games in the Premier League or 9 games in the Premier League, something like that, and obviously the Champions League matches. Why couldn't the new manager, the serious manager that we were going to get, do the same thing that Frank is doing right now? Now, when this new supposed manager does come after Frank leaves, they're going to be stuck with a huge mess that needs cleaning up. And I don't expect the new manager to do all of that, but that new manager, a lot of the focus will go in helping this financial mess that we're in. You know, they will have conversations with the new manager as to who you want to keep, who needs to go. Some really, really, talented players from the academy. Now, I know we have opinions in regards to that, who's talented, who's not, but still, do you know what I mean? Like Mason Mount, I still feel there is a lot of talent that he most likely needs to go. Conor Gallagher, I think that we can all agree that he needs to go. But there are a few other ones, maybe talented ones. I don't know. Lewis Hall, perhaps, might be in the market. So we have to sort this out massively. Or else, I don't know, could we potentially have a transfer ban next season? Could we potentially have, fines or points being deducted? I mean, is this potentially another reason why Frank Lampard's come in? Because maybe our owners kind of think that down the track, this will be very difficult to clear. We could face another transfer ban, and we're bringing in Frank Lampard, who's experienced in transfer ban seasons and experienced in doing it well. Maybe we've brought him in for that reason. I don't know. But there is a certain level of concern. Todd Boehly at Chelsea this season, 11 million in compensation to Thomas Tuchel after his dismissal, 25 million to recruit Graham Potter from Brighton, 15 million. Now, this 25 million, I think that can be amortized, right? Because that's more like a transfer fee. So you can amortize that over a certain period of time. Now, I don't know whether you can really amortize if you've already sacked the manager as well. So that's another 25 million that we paid Brighton. Is that immediate expense to the books? 15 million to Graham Potter after his dismissal. So I think it was about 13 million pounds that we've agreed on. 50 million spent, and they don't have a coach. Like obviously now we've got Frank Lampard, interim caretaking coach. 50 million spent. We've already spent 50 million in just managers, and we still haven't got it right. Quite incredible. Now, why am I bringing this in? Obviously, it's been circulated. This is what the headline is at the moment in Chelsea News Front. But the reason I'm focusing on this financial struggle, conundrum that we find ourselves in, is because I think it might be related to the whole Nagelsmann situation as well. To get Nagelsmann, there's a compensation that we may have to pay to Bayern if we were to get Nagelsmann right now. Unless Nagelsmann decides on a compensation with Bayern directly and closes that account. That hasn't happened as yet. So maybe Bayern is still seeking for a chance where, Chelsea, why don't you pay us? We don't want to, do any compensation negotiations with Nagelsmann directly. Why don't you pay that money? Why don't you pay us and we'll just give that money to Nagelsmann in essence, basically. And maybe this could be one of the factors why Julian Nagelsmann is not here at the moment with us, because Chelsea probably don't want to pay that compensation, further hamper the financial situation. Plus 21 million. So check this out. These are all the transfers that we did over the last 2 windows under the new ownership. Quite a lot. Whole heap of numbers flying around, as you can see here. all the different players and the numbers associated to them. And on top of that, Oliver Key goes on to say, it's got a massive article over here, but basically comes to this conclusion. Plus 21.5 million compensation to Brighton for Potter, 13 million compensation for Tuchel, and now whatever they end up paying Potter in compensation, which we know 13 million pounds. Great work, Boehly and co. Looking forward to season 2 when they start trying to act sensibly. Chelsea job must hope new owners are serious about changing short-term culture. Yeah, look, this is the crazy part, isn't it? There's a report in British press today that Todd Boehly, okay, we'll have a look at that right at the end. I want to check this particular, situation with Nagelsmann first. Bayern are open to negotiate. These are about maybe a week old when Nagelsmann got sacked, or a couple of weeks old when Nagelsmann got sacked, and we started becoming more focused on pursuing him. Bayern are open to negotiate with any club to let Julian Nagelsmann leave in order to save his salary until 2026. He's got a massive contract. Julian Nagelsmann's got a massive contract at Bayern Munich. That needs to be paid out, unless, as I said, Julian Nagelsmann directly negotiates, just like what we did with Graham Potter, 13 million compensation with his long-term contract to get rid of him. Just like that, Julian Nagelsmann has to do that directly, or Chelsea will have to pay that out. No issues on that. Nagelsmann also open to discuss long-term project with Chelsea. No club talks on compensation yet at this stage. Chelsea would have to pay Bayern a huge compensation fee for Julian Nagelsmann, as his contract is still running until 2026. So all the financial stress that we find ourselves in, I think this plays a key part as to why we're not getting Julian Nagelsmann right about now. Because don't forget, Bayern Munich also wants Anthony Barry, and maybe we're trying to strike a deal there and trying to cross out the compensations on both sides. Obviously, Bayern will have to pay some sort of compensation to us for Anthony Barry, and similarly, we'll have to pay some compensation for Julian Nagelsmann, and maybe we're trying to cross both of those compensations out. But maybe Bayern's not agreeing on it, or maybe we're not agreeing on it. But as I said, at the end of the day, this is an issue. This is an issue, and maybe another reason why we're probably not getting Nagelsmann right now. Why? Maybe this is another reason why we're waiting till the summer. Maybe allow Nagelsmann the time to negotiate that compensation with Bayern directly. I don't know. And of course, there are other reasons, in the sense that mentally where Nagelsmann is at the moment, after being ruthlessly sacked, is he mentally in the correct place to take over a job like Chelsea Football Club and the crazy mess that we're in? So, look, it is definitely something to think about. All right, let's have a look at this particular clip from David Ornstein, which will perhaps give us a little bit of an information. One of the extracts from that particular video states, there's a report in British press today that Todd Boehly, the controlling co-owner, was influenced in his decision to hire Lampard by James Corden, of all people. I don't know the exact accuracy of that, but it plays into the perceived sense of chaos in Chelsea at the moment. Chelsea had explored and looked into Lampard late in February. I mean, they were already thinking about Lampard. That's what I find quite strange and quite mad. Like, Frank Lampard's a manager, got sacked at Everton and almost got them relegated. What made you think that he's an adequate replacement for Graham Potter for the remainder of the season on February? Do you know what I mean? On February this year. Time to get serious, man. And you guys just simply weren't serious. All right, let's check this out from the top.
Super left field. Well, David, it's a theme, isn't it, that these Premier League clubs are sacking their managers and then thinking, oh, yeah, we've now got to get somebody in. Chelsea did the same thing and then went super left field and went back to Frank Lampard. Can you tell us how that happened?
Well, when it rains, it pours at Stamford Bridge. I think they wish the domestic season was over, but they're still going in Europe. But yes, as you say, the shock news that came to us in recent days was that Frank Lampard was coming in as interim manager. Now, it's quite interesting. There's a report in the British press today that Todd Boehly, the controlling co-owner, was influenced in his decision by James Corden, of all people. Now, I don't know the exact accuracy of that, but it plays into the sense of perceived chaos at Chelsea at the moment. Frank Lampard, I can tell you, was an option that Chelsea had looked into and explored as far back as late February when Graham Potter and his Chelsea team lost at Tottenham. He earned a stay of execution by beating Leeds, Borussia Dortmund and Leicester. But then things started to unravel with the draw against Everton and, of course, that defeat against Aston Villa. Chelsea again began to think about Lampard. It was a tight turnaround, though, and so that's why Potter's interim team, his coaching staff, was put in temporary charge. But Lampard appeared after we were speaking live on NBC at Chelsea against Liverpool, and very soon there were talks. He was actually sat in the owner's box, and a deal was quickly struck, but it wasn't without its complications because his staff that he wanted to bring in still have some negotiations to sort out with Everton, where they were previously employed before being sacked in January over their severance and contracts and payoffs. Now that's happened. Ashley Cole has come in, Chris Jones, and Joe Edwards as well. But it gave them only 2 days to train Chelsea up for that terrible performance at Wolves yesterday. And Frank Lampard said in his talks with the Chelsea hierarchy that he was happy to take on this big bloated squad. It's got loads of talent in it, but he is now seeing the problems for himself. And those problems will need to be addressed in the coming weeks. An absolutely incredible fixture list with Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Manchester City all in there. And then Chelsea have big problems on the horizon. Financial accounts that have been filed with Companies House shows huge losses for the year to June 2022, huge payoffs to former directors, huge spending on transfers. They're going to have to get that financial fair play situation sorted in the summer. And at the same time, they need to appoint a permanent manager. That process is going on in the background while Frank Lampard takes the public attention and maybe takes a bit of the spotlight off of the owners at this critical time.
Goodness me, the Late Late Show with James Corden in.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. It's quite straightforward. It's quite straightforward that this chaos that we find ourselves in, and it's so well put by David Ornstein over there. Not only the managerial circus show that's being pointed out, that's being displayed to all of us, but it's that financial standpoint as well, where we're just incurring a lot of losses, a lot of compensations, left, right, and center being paid out. And we need to take a hold. We need to take a hold of all of this mess. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything that we've talked about. James Corden recommending Frank Lampard. Don't know if that's true or not, but all these publications are talking about it. Financial stress, financial concerns with all the compensations to ex-directors, to other clubs for managers, and we still don't have a manager. Let us know. Let us know. And the Julian Nagelsmann, maybe this is probably one of the reasons why we haven't gone for him, because there is still a lot of compensation to be paid. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content, and make sure, seriously, if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Let's do this.